You're on.
Aloha and welcome to
All
Wisdom
right.
Dialogue.
I see myself there. Okay.
Oh, that's
Record
great.
to the cloud.
You're on.
That was me in stereo. Anyways, I'm coming to you from the Love Room on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yay. Joining me today is Bob as my panelist, Bob Shine. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Aloha. So Bob and I, and in Wisdom Dialogues in person yesterday, we've been talking about the real world, and usually the way it comes to me is this is what it's not, this is what it's not, this is what it's not, all these different things you see in the material world, such as separation, as if you can't communicate unless you get like a phone or your bodies are close or I don't know, a can, whatever it is people use to communicate. That's not necessary. And then there's not anything like having to do anything. That's another thing. There's no having or needing to do anything. There's no having or needing to do anything here, really. But there's a sense of it, right? We get a sense of it. I need to, I have to, stuff like that. You're not trapped. You're not trapped. It's not like you're trapped in this world. You come to this world and manifest yourself in this world as a matter of choice and is chosen over and over and over again. So one choice that comes to mind that you could make is when you perceive that you have or need to do anything, just in recognizing that that thought is one thought that upholds this illusion that you have or need to do anything. You're getting a sense that you have or need to do something. It's a sense, it's from a body sense. So you're getting that sense. Doesn't mean that it's true. You're getting a sense. It's a mental interpretation. It's a mental interpretation made through the idea that you separated yourself from reality. So now you got some shit to do. Isn't that fun? I mean, it makes everything so much more fun because you realize you're just apparently doing things just as a matter of course, like this thing is playing out. This thing is playing out like a movie. You don't really have or need to do anything, but you're being made to, in the dream, do things and get the sense that you have or need to do things. And you're getting the sense that other people should be doing things if they're not doing things. And if they're doing things that are bothering you, you're getting the sense that they should stop doing those things. See that? So every time you get a sense like that, you can just watch it and smile in the knowing that, or even the hoping that. See, that's the thing. There's people aren't even hoping for that. The hoping that you're mistaken. Okay? Before you know, you just hope you're mistaken. But before you hope you're mistaken, you don't even think of it. You just think that's the way it is. I should be doing these things, and these other people should be doing things, and the other people should stop doing things. There's not even a thought about it. It's just automatically taken as if you're correct about what all these things mean. And the thing is, we're totally not correct about what anything means in the dream. We don't know. So stay in a not knowing what anything means. It's chaos, actually. All of the thoughts and all the thought forms. The thought forms are everything that you see, like, say, my body, this shirt, hair, my sheepskin, cup of tea. We don't really know what any of that stuff means because it's chaotic. So any meaning that we make of it, we're giving that meaning to it. And by recognize what we're doing here as far as holding up an illusion, you start to undo it for yourself. And then you're able to extend love to everyone. You're not getting all confused when people come into your experience and maybe they're acting crazy or something. You don't get all confused because you realize what it's all for. When you recognize you don't know what the meaning is of anything because it's all chaotic, you can realize that what everything is for and use everything, including your own appearance of a physical body, including that for undoing the guilty self concept, which is basically extending love and joy. So it's using these perceptions for that only, not having other uses for them. See, when we think we know what things mean in the illusion, then we come up with these different uses for them that totally defy the reason that we made them in the first place. You know, we're only projecting this world to undo the illusion. It's just that we have gotten lost in the projection to the point where we think we are in the projection. As in, I'm in this body over here and you're in that body over there. It seems so, but there aren't any separate bodies. There's one being, one life, and we share one body. There's a body sense. There's a unique body sense. And you can say each one of us, each aspect of the awareness, each extension of the creator, you could say, we're all one, but we're each individually experiencing a different set of concepts that make up an energy body. The body is more like an energy body, and the physical, the manifest that you see is one body. And the body that you see is totally projected from your body's energy field. That includes everyone and all of the things. It's one thing. That's one thing. The body doesn't feel any pain. That's another thing. The body doesn't feel anything, actually. The mind has allowed the body to make an appearance. You can say the mind projects a body and then projects feelings for that body. The body and the feelings are projected from the same mind. Same mind that projects the body also projects feelings for the body. And then through the ego's guidance, that same mind is taking that pain or pleasure or whatever it is in the body to be coming from the body. You know, and it looks so real. I mean, you could take a hammer and you can like smash your hand and then all of a sudden there's pain. It really looks like, you know, that hammer smashing the hand caused the pain. It didn't, though, because it's not possible. If you look at it logically, reasonably, you reasonably look at it as it's being projected from the mind, even the act of hitting the hand with a hammer is projected by the mind. And that's to trick you. It's like a trick. It's to trick you into believing that something caused that pain in your hand. But nothing causes any feeling that you feel in the body at all. You don't even feel in the body, let's say. That also makes an illusion. Think of the body really as like a projection. You know, take that projection thing literally. Look at the body like a projection, and there's a whole field of projections. There's also a hammer in the projection. The hammer hits the hand. Can it really cause any harm or pain to that projection? No, it's belief that gives it that kind of, quote, reality. But it's not set in stone. It makes it look like, well, that's just the way it is. Things are just like this. But see, it's us re-believing in it over and over again. And I say us very loosely because there's only one of us. So I don't come on Wisdom Dialogues or anything because I need you to start seeing it. You know, only come on because I love to share. And hey, people are coming on. People are listening, so that's fun. But no one else is needed. Like, no one's needed to do anything. You don't need people to get on board with you or anything like that, because all you perceive of them is your projection anyways. You're not perceiving them as they are. They're already at home, safe in reality. And really, if you want anyone to know that they're at home, safe in reality, then demonstrate that that's where you are. Okay? Demonstrate to them that that's where you are. Now, if you're at home safe in reality, you're not being any kind of mean to them. You're not being any kind of dismissive with them. You're totally paying attention to them because they're so important. Being safe at home in reality and knowing their divinity makes them so important. See, for who they are, though, not for the body that the ego wants to make of them. See, in the ego's world, some people are important, and some people, they can just like get out of your life, like ace them out of here, As if you have a choice in that, though. You don't. Even if you find yourself, getting away from someone, for instance. Getting away from someone. That's also a projection of the mind, not a choice that you made. But in thinking, that's where you made the choice. In thinking, in believing that they are other than what they actually are. In believing that they are that body, maybe something that you need to get away from. Anastasia, my love, what does it mean to be an image of God? Could you please answer the question for, quote, beginners? Yay, thank you. That's a fun one. Well, if you're talking about the image of God, like if you're talking about, and you can let me know if I'm on the wrong track with this, but if you're talking about like in the Bible where it's talking about how God made humans in his image, okay, that one, God made humans in his image. Yes. There's creation. That's creation, okay? It's not humans, though. Humans are what we made up, okay? We made that up thinking that God doesn't want us, that God is pissed at us. So we made up mortal bodies to go and hide for a little while, thinking that, oh, maybe there's a way we can outrun death here. Of course, it hasn't occurred yet. You never know. We might get the perception of that at some point, but that's not really what's important. What's important is undoing this illusion so that we can have the awareness of ourselves in God's image. We don't have the awareness of ourselves in God's image. So, she might be referring to a previous Wisdom Dialogues, and I was talking to my mom, and she told me, but God made us in his image. And I said, yes, but these images that we perceive, that's not the image. That's not an image of God. God doesn't get sick. God doesn't have to take a poo. God doesn't have to clean himself. And I'm using God as a male figure very loosely. There is no male female at all. Okay, it's kind of like saying God the Father. If you like God the Mother, fine, it doesn't matter. It's not the image. The image that we perceive is not God's image. So God, you can say God is love. In fact, that's a verse in the Bible. That's the shortest verse in the Bible. I don't know the reference, but it is God is love, basically. And as love, as a loving creator, all of God's creations are like God. So in the creative world, in the real world, I like to say it's kind of like this one, but not anything like this one. It's a world of light. It's a world of living. It's a world of no dying. Okay. So and that's because of our creativity. God created us to create like God. And that's how we're in his image, because we can create, and we can only create like him. We can't create like the ego. That's why nothing here has been created. It's only been made up. That's why it's a dream. It's only been make-believe, and it can be undone. And that's the whole purpose of it, actually. We run around thinking we have all these different purposes for a while, but sooner or later, you come to the one. Yeah. Yay. So Bob has a little something. I see you, Singawa. I see your question. I'll be with it soon, too. Bob has something he would like to read after hearing about the real world. And let me know, Anastasia, if you want me to expound on that at all. So Bob, go ahead. Tell us what you got.
Okay, well, I've been seeing with new eyes of love lately, so I will read. So, yeah, you're talking about the real world, and so this was a post on Facebook by this guy, Omram Mikhail, who was an ardent sun devotee his whole life. He had this to say about life in heaven. Everything we see on Earth, the seasons, the planets, events, human life with its sleeping and waking, nourishment, love, childbirth, death, etc., is only a reflection, repetition, and imitation of another world, just as the shadow of a tree resembles the tree, but is not the tree itself, or as a man's reflection in a mirror resembles him, but is not him. The initiates have always spoken of the world as a shadow, an illusion, a delusion. They saw it as a reflection of a higher divine world, as a likeness that shows the way to that super reality that is similar but indescribably more beautiful. Now you understand why I said that the sun, typifying heaven, is the symbol of the world of the gods. Heaven, or rather the heavens, is teeming with life. There are inhabitants there who have houses, just like us. They eat and drink, are born, make love, but divinely. And there are towns too, in the sun, towns, mountains, rivers, flowers, and tremendous variety of plants. But the matter of which these things are made is quite different from that which exists on earth. The sun is a whole vast world that contains living beings, dwellings, palaces, trees, cities, and oceans. A world with a culture that is beyond anything you can imagine. It is the loveliest of lands, the land of the living, which is spoken of in Psalms. I will walk before the Lord in the land of the living. The living are the immortal, eternal beings who dwell permanently in light. The sun is their abode. They send us their light. The sun is the most marvelous of worlds, peopled with angels, archangels, divinities who go to and fro to work in each of the planets and help the creatures who inhabit them before returning once more to the sun. Every ray of sunlight that reaches us is imparted with three qualities, with movement, light, and warmth. Movement corresponds to the Father's will. The light embodies the Mother's wisdom, and the warmth is the expression of love, the child. Will, wisdom, love is the true divine Trinity.
Yes. And all of that, what you described right there, it's all being kept for us. You could say it's being kept for us. It's our true creation is being kept for us. That's really what's going on. We're just perceiving in shadow. We're in a shadow world. We're perceiving in a shadow world. And that's because this world is filtered through the thought that we separated ourselves from reality, which brings on anger and guilt. And so that's why there's all this sickness and death and attacking each other and conflict, aging, stinkiness. Cracks me up. That's probably why there's an essential oil business. There's the founder of an essential oil business. I'm like, man, this place is stinky. It's not like that. It's not like that in reality. In reality. So in this dream, we're not perceiving reality, and we have a very important function or purpose here, and that's to see through the dream world and bring our awareness back to reality. And like I said, it only takes one, so you don't need anyone on board with you. Is there anything you'd like to ask about that, Bob? What you just read?
Well, there's another little paragraph that kind of illuminates that, and that's from the book Busting Loose from the Money Game
Okay.
that you've talked about and everything. That's very important. So, so he's saying here in Busting Loose from the Money Game, just like in a Hollywood movie, Everything in your world looks real and substantial, but it isn't. It's all made up. So that's what you say all the time. Everything you perceive with your five senses is an illusion. All props and special effects designed to create an alternative reality that allows you to play the human game. And your own special effects extend the illusion to an incredible degree, too. When I take you behind the scenes to show you how total immersion movies are made in the human game amusement park, you'll be amazed by the complexity, time, energy, and effort that's involved. It must be that way. The illusions created to support the playing of the human game must be absolutely convincing, or the human game would end abruptly, the equivalent of you walking out of the theater during a boring or poorly crafted movie. As you'll see, the special effects required to make the money game appear real would put every special effects and animation studio in Hollywood to shame. Now, here's the really interesting part. When you're in a movie theater, you're just watching a movie. You may get very involved with the story and closely identify with the characters, but you still know you're you. You still know you're sitting in a theater watching. You still know it's not real. You still know the action is taking place outside you. In short, there's a distance between you and the events taking place in the movie. When playing the human game, however, you don't just watch, you totally immerse yourself in the storyline. Imagine sitting in a theater, seeing a movie scene start to play on the screen, stepping through the screen into the scene, forgetting who you really are and actually becoming one of the characters for a while, actually believing you're that character and everyone and everything else in the movie is real. That's what I mean by total immersion and what happens when you play the human game.
Yeah. And it is just gonna all of a sudden disappear. All of a sudden. They won't be expecting it at all. It's just like boom, gone. It doesn't need to finish playing out. Yeah. The projector just gets turned off. It doesn't even need to finish playing out. It's not something that you get to on dying either. That's not how you get there. It's a restoring of sanity. So there's not really a there to get like that, but there's insanity. The thought of separation caused insanity. Okay? And so as we take the extrapolations on that thought of separation, like I was talking about earlier, I need to do something is an extrapolation of that, or they need to do something, or they need to stop doing something. That's an extrapolation of the thought of separation. So in looking at that honestly, reasonably, you could be reminded right away, it's not true. That thought doesn't have any meaning. It has no meaning except any meaning that I give to it right now, which is totally making up a dream. You know, people are afraid they're not going to function or something. Well, if I just think that I don't need to do anything, then one of my friends told me, if I just get the thought, if I don't worry about what I eat and whether I worked out, I'm going to be 700 pounds. You know, that's the ego. That's the ego. The ego's 700 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the thing is, if you're willing to use your body, not for getting something for the body, but if you're to use your body for undoing that guilty self-concept, you don't have to concern yourself with any of that stuff. You don't have to concern yourself with nutrition or diet or, you know, because you put your attention toward undoing this dream. In fact, putting your focus and, you know, your concern, basically, it's concern that a lot of people are consumed with over what you eat, how much you sleep, whether or not you have certain habits or anything like that. It's leading toward death. It's making the illusion of death. Because now you're making the body mean something as like it's a means to get what you want. What are you going to do with that body that looks all healthy and stuff? What are you going to do with it? You know, it's like it's like, okay, you get to the perfect, whatever you think it should be. And then what? And then what? What I'm saying is all that stuff gets taken care of as a matter of course. It's only your worry and concern about it that's making it into some kind of struggle, that's making it into something that needs your concern, apparently. Okay. Aw, Yulia, I love you. Thank you, Yulia. Yulia told me you explain it all so perfectly. Nothing else is needed for me. You know, and it's funny like that. Like we each find our perfect teacher, and it has to do, you know, it also has to do with what really resonates for you, and it could be at the time, so that could change with time as well. So, you know, that's why I say, hey, if it stops being that exciting or resonating for you, just look at other things. Just look at other things. It's okay. It's not like that. It's not like that. You just take whatever it is that resonates for you and keep going with it, with whatever is always resonating for you. It always, you thought about it, but I'm still resonating. I'm super happy to have you here, Yulia. I love you so much. It's really fun to see you. Thank you. Okay, Bob, are you done? What do you have anything else on that?
Well, I guess the idea that this is just a shadow, an illusion, and that there's this real world is similar to the reading that I had about you know who you are sitting in the movie theater, but then you get lost in the movie, in the projection. You step into the illusion and you think it's real. And that movie is like you say, a dream. It's a dream movie dream, and the idea is to step back into yourself, into your true real self, into your real universe that's filled with love, that's filled with light, filled with angels and divinities and beauty, and there's none of this that you were talking about, you know, the stink and the smells and all of the unpleasantries of physical life. So
how do you
that's
get
just
there? How do you get there though, Bob? How do you bring forth the real world?
well, I guess you close your eyes for one thing. You just close your eyes to this world and kind of point your eyes inward and
Okay.
go within. The kingdom of God is neither low here nor low there, not found through observation. The kingdom of God is within. Seek first the kingdom. That's what we're told, as Christ says, is the kingdom. And so this description of this other world, this heavenly world, would be a description of what the kingdom would be like.
Yeah.
Sitting in reality instead of getting stuck in the dream movie on the screen, and you become some character in some drama.
Yeah. So it has to do with keeping your attention inside. You keep turning your attention back inside. You know, and what I mean by that is put your attention in to the body's energy field. For me, it's putting the attention into the body's energy field and denying truth to the illusion thoughts that uphold the illusion. And as there's denying truth, those thoughts that uphold the illusion, I can perceive my body's energy field lightening up. So it's like there will be a heaviness, and this is how a triggered reaction can be approached. There's lots of ways to say it. You find your knack, okay? So it's like there's a triggered reaction, like, oh no, someone said something about me, or whatever it seems to be. Number one, I'm never upset for the reason I think I'm upset. That's a really fun thought to just throw in there. Okay, great. I'm feeling upset. I'm not upset for the reason it seems to be upsetting. And then see if you could put your attention inside. If you cannot put your attention inside, keep on being aware of it. It's through awareness that this gets done. It gets undone. There's nowhere to go. That's right. There is nowhere to go. There's absolutely no place. So don't be afraid of turning your attention within. And most of the going is is in following, pursuing thoughts. You know, some of it's on the surface too, where you see the body moving, but what you have a choice in is whether or not these thoughts are made real for you. That's what you have a choice in, okay? And to be able to see that you have that choice takes attention. So it's paying attention, keeping the attention within instead of running on the surface. If you don't understand what I mean right now, it's okay. You're gonna get it. If you have a resonance toward this, if this kind of conversation draws you in, you got what it takes to see this. It might be going over a period of time. Hey, it might not. For most people, it does go over a period of time through practice, but you never know. Have fun with it. Yay. Okay, so I'm moving on. I have a question from Singawa. What a fun name. It's fun to say that. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it's all right. That's a neat name. I haven't seen that one before. Okay, greetings. A little while ago, you spoke to the connection that forms between two through the trajectory of thought, and that when we form this bond, we have the choice between projection and communication. Can you speak to this more? If the other that we perceive and therefore create in the dream as separate to ourselves are themselves a projection of our minds, where does projection end and communication begin in our relationships with each other? Oh, this is fun. Thank you, Singawa. Okay, so basically you could say that we've formed a bond anytime you are in what seems to be any kind of communication, even if it's like the ego kind of projecting whatever. If their bodies are in proximity with yours, if you're in a contract with them and so you're communicating with them that way, or maybe you're not even communicating with voice or anything like that, you know about them. Let's say Donald Trump. Pretty much everyone knows who he is, right? Okay, so in that case, you are forming this kind of physical or human bond with him every time he crosses your mind, okay? That gives you the responsibility for healing him, as in this image of him that you made, because we're not seeing each other clearly. So it's like anyone who dances through my projection, perception, illusion, that's for me. It's actually it's an image of myself. It's an image that I made of myself, and it's for healing. So, and it's like they're asking, it's like Donald Trump is asking everyone, you know, he's in the consciousness of so many people's awareness, you know, it's in their consciousness. He's asking, hey, can I have your blessing? And you know what? He's asking that for you. It's your own call for love. And that applies to anyone that dances through your awareness. You're building this kind of bond with them that's for healing. And as long as you're using it for healing, you're seeing them more and more clearly. And in turn, you're seeing yourself more and more clearly, because that's the way it goes. You know, it's like with someone like Donald Trump, he's got any president. He's got like part of the people that just like can't stand him. They hate him. Who knows what part or percentage? It doesn't matter. And then another part that's like, oh, he's great. Another part that's just kind of like, whatever. Those ones that get the most emotionally charged about him, good or bad, either way, you know, that's showing you that you really have something. You've given him something to bring back to you. There's no emotional charge or anything, then you don't have anything going on like that. But the emotional charge will show you. And, you know, if you're not sure, what is an emotional charge? Disappointment is one. Okay. Dependency, some kind of dependency. Hopefulness, that he'll do things the way you think he should. Doubt he might not do things the way you think he should. These are all self-reflections. They're all self-reflections. So what everyone's giving you is a self-reflection. You're building that kind of human bond with them whenever you perceive them in separation, in the illusion of separation. And if you use it for what it's for, you're going to be so happy with everyone. All of your relationships are going to be so sparkly, no matter what. No matter what. Even if they're coming up to you telling you that you are the worst person ever, you know, you can be in joy about that, because what they're bringing you is a message for your own healing. The message for your own healing. You know, you might get your feelings hurt or something when someone comes and tells you, I'm going to teach you a lesson. I'm going to teach you a lesson. For me, it's like, oh, good. I'm ready. I may not get the lesson in the way they think I should be getting a lesson, but I'm definitely getting a lesson. And anytime there's any kind of an emotional charge, if someone's showing me an emotional charge, same. It's not like I'm gonna sit there all stoic and pretend like that emotional charge is somewhere over there, because actually that emotional charge that arises within my perception is projected from my body's energy field. Even if I don't feel it, it's projected from my body's energy field. In fact, if I don't feel it, I'm blind. And that's the way a lot of people go about it. You know, Course in Miracles people, before they see through, Course in Miracles people, non-duality, Advaita people go about it like, oh, well, you're just having that like emotional thing over there. And, you know, I'm still like, yeah, like this. It's like, well, that's actually, like I was talking about earlier, there's only one body and it's all projected from your body's energy field. In the dream, that's how it's like. Okay, that's not how it is in reality. In reality, there's only love, so it's not called emotion. In the illusion, we have two. We have love and fear. So then those are emotions, and all those other feelings in between, they either speak to love or fear. But in reality, there's only love. There's not any kind of feeling contrast like that. And no, you do not need feeling contrast. You do not need that except in dreaming. And the reason you need it in dreaming is that so that you can know and you can perceive when you're defiling yourself. In reality, you don't defile yourself, so you don't need the contrasting feelings. And for those of you who think that makes it more fun to have contrasting feelings, you don't have any clue what reality is, okay? That does not make it more fun to have contrasting feelings. You're only love. Can you imagine only always feeling love? Because that's who you really are. So when you perceive any kind of contrast, that's how you know you're mistaken. Oh, get alert, get ready for the healing, get ready for seeing through the illusion. Are you willing? Ask yourself, are you willing? Am I willing to offer this up? This idea that I have about this person, whether it's attachment or it's aversion to the person. If it's attachment or if it's aversion, you're getting a contrasting feeling. And that's telling you that you must be mistaken. You're not seeing them truly. Elka said, imagine if we're healing our projections of everyone all the time. Yes, that's my goal each morning when I wake up. Does it manifest like that throughout the day? Does it show itself like that throughout the day? Not always. And what's important here too is to be a joyful learner. Make sure that you're not putting yourself down when you perceive yourself, quote or unquote, screw up. There's no screwing up because nothing's happening. It's all just another opportunity. All that you perceive is just another opportunity to see through. So keep going. Keep going with that. Good for you, Elka. She said, me too. That's the goal too. And see, you see all these other goals come up throughout the day and in our relating with one another where we're forgetful about that. Even if we woke up and made that goal in the morning, we become forgetful about that. That's okay. Have fun. Laugh about it. don't take it seriously. Seriously is something about the ego's world. That just makes it seem much harder than it is. It makes it seem to take longer too. Okay, so the other part of Singawa's question here. If the other that we perceive and therefore create in the dream, okay, I'm just going to change that word to make up in the dream, because there, it doesn't matter. The word really doesn't matter. You don't get the word wrong ever like that. It's just that I like to make a really clear distinction between what there is in the real world, which is creating, and what we perceive here, which is make-believe. Make-believe can all just disappear in an instant. What's created, that lasts forever, and it's totally protected no matter what seems to occur here, okay? So if the other that we perceive and therefore make up in the dream as separate to ourselves are themselves a projection of our minds, where does projection end and communication begin? That's where you see through the illusion. Communication is basically extending love. So when you're not in attachment and aversion to a person, which are really the same thing, when you're not in either of those with them, you're communicating. That's all there is to it. When you're not believing a thought, here, let me give you an example. Someone came to me recently this weekend and said, you know what? I think the way that you're, well, they were speaking in the third person, they were speaking for someone else, but here, let me put it to you this way. I think the way that you act like you like me is fake. I think the way that you act like you like me is fake. And it's like, oh yeah, the thought did occur to me that I didn't like you, but I just smiled at it. It doesn't really mean anything to me, And the only reason a thought occurs to me that I don't like a person, is because there's a sense of not liking myself. And the only reason that occurs to me is so that I can see it. Okay? It just occurs to me so that I could see it. So it's like, oh, I know what that means. I don't have to pursue it. It could be that I was sleepy, and most likely is that I was sleepy about it for someone to have that perception of me. I was sleepy about it and let it play out a little bit, as in sleepily believing that I actually didn't like the person. See? These thoughts occur to us all the time, all day long. And it's like, oh yeah, that thought occurred to me. That thought did occur to me, but I don't believe it. In addition to it being a projection of not liking yourself, in addition to that, in order for them to have that perception, they also are holding on to an idea about themselves. So in letting that thought pass, as soon as you recognize that, it doesn't matter if you've been sleepily drawn into it and really believing that you don't like the person, kind of like pursuing the thought. These are sleepily pursuing thoughts. It happens a lot of times because there's just this forgetfulness to stay aware, to stay alert. It doesn't mean that you actually don't like the person. You're actually not capable of not liking a person. So it's just like, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm sure what you perceived is a reflection of how I secretly don't like myself. And I don't believe it has anything to do with you. That's all. That's extending love. Not believing in the illusion, that's extending love. It's honesty. It's being honest about what this is. And really, it's being reasonable because it's the truth of what it is. It's bringing reason into this illusion. It's like, yeah, that thought, it occurred to me. Another friend said, I feel like I'm asking you to do so much. I'm like, oh, that thought occurred to me. And what about it? Well, I don't believe it. You can't ask me to do too much. If there's a reason that I shouldn't be doing these things for you, I'll find myself saying no. Simply no. Not no, you're asking me to do too much. Because that's not true. That's the ego coming in. It's simply no. Why not? There's no real why about it. But it's sure the heck not because you're asking me to do too much. Okay? That's how you get packed. The body's senses stop at the projected world. So it's you go through what the body senses. The body senses that you're asking me to do too much. The body senses that I don't like you. You look past that. You look through that, through the body sense. Don't let your awareness stop at what the body senses. Okay? All right, if you need any follow-up on that, I'm sure you'll let me know. Thank you so much. Okay, got Kat here. I feel curious why I have such a strong desire to have a baby. Does it have to do with me wanting to subconsciously heal from the dream of separation? Is that possible? Well, there's no subconscious. I've used subconscious a lot. Thank you too. I've used the word subconscious a lot too, but that's been changed. That's kind of been changed up because there isn't a subconscious. It's all conscious. It's all conscious. The strong desire to have a baby is probably pointing to that the next thing or coming up in the scene, you may be having a baby. The opposite of that is you don't have a baby and then you're pissed about it. Here's the thing about worldly desires though. You don't have any. You don't have any. You're identifying with the desire, and in identifying with the desire, you're making suffering for yourself. Okay? Because either way it goes, look, people have babies. Oh, I really want to have a baby and have a baby. And then, something else happens, like, oh, this kid, it's like all a setup. All the desires are a setup for suffering. Let's put it that way. All your desires are set up for suffering, and you don't really have any desires. And you could say this about desire too. It's like a shadow. It's like a shadow. It's like a projection of the one desire, which is to restore the mind to sanity. Do you need a baby to restore your mind to sanity? If you have one, you do. If you have one, you do. If you don't have one, then you don't need one. If you have an abortion, you need that to restore your mind to sanity. If you have a miscarriage, you also need that to restore your mind to sanity. But having a strong desire to have a baby is just completely meaningless. And I would encourage you to look at that as meaningless, because if you don't, what you're doing is feeding the idea that desires of this world are really meaningful. And the more you feed desires of this world, the more you set yourself up for suffering and confusion. Okay? So it's like, it has to do with, you said, does it have to do with me subconsciously wanting to heal from the dream of separation? It has to do that the ego is trying to be your guide on this one, just a desire for anything. Desire for anything of this world. There is one desire that's one true desire, and that's to restore your mind to sanity. You don't need anything of this world to restore your mind to sanity. And anything that you think you want, ask to see through it. Just ask to see through it. It doesn't matter what it is. Just ask that you see through it. Because if you don't see through it, well, you will eventually. But while you don't see through it, it's making more illusions. It's extending time, making more suffering, and setting more death up. Okay? We certainly don't need more bodies to see through the illusion of separate bodies, but it's not going to hurt anything either because it's not happening. Okay, so it's just really neither here nor there. It's not relevant. It's not relevant to anything. Whatever it is, just let it transpire and watch your reactions to everything. Watch desire, especially because it's set up. It's an ego setup. That kind of desire is an ego desire. The only desire you have is for God. The only desire you have that's synonymous with extending love, restoring the mind to sanity. That's your true desire. That's why You know, I was talking about my goal in the morning is to be healing with everyone and everything. And, you know, I go back to my goal several times throughout the day and affirm again and again that that's the only desire. During the day when I find myself at work, you know, maybe I'm working on my website, or maybe I'm working on a yoga app, or maybe I'm doing an essential oil blend. It may appear to me that I'm being driven by a desire to get something in the world, but it's a matter of keeping on reminding myself what it's for, so I could use even that ego desire, even that appearance of an ego desire, for healing. Not making it wrong, but also not identifying it as if it's the thing that I desire. Okay, there's an ego desire, no problem. It's not a problem, okay? I just know what it is. That's all. I like the phrase I want to, the same thing as I need. It's really the same. And
Well,
I think go ahead, Bob.
it isn't desire acknowledgement of a lack. I'm lacking something, and so that's why I desire something. So are you going to get your fill from that outside world that you're desiring, that object or that experience? Is that, you know, it's like eating junk food. It might satisfy you for a minute, but it's not going to nourish you. That's what goes back to looking within. Seek first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. This internal kingdom that we all share in common, of love, of unity, of oneness, of the same selfhood. That's
even
that's the sanity.
Right. And even if you eat what you consider to be the healthiest food in the world, any satisfaction is projected from the mind. You know, any satisfaction is that in that, or dissatisfaction, it's a projection. And that's why it's not going to do anything. You know, it's like there's a want and then there's a getting. There's a want or not getting, whatever, either way. Wanting, getting, wanting, not getting. And in that, it's all an opportunity for undoing. But there's that getting caught up in that. It's the wanting and the getting that becomes important for people. And then there's only projecting out of that. And then there's not healing happening. It cannot happen out of that while you're identifying with wanting. But notice the distinction, though, that's made here. You know, there's wanting and there's identifying with wanting. Wanting is not a problem at all. It's identifying that with wanting that makes that problematic thing, that illusion, that feeling of heaviness, that feeling of that you need to do something. You know, if you want things, you need to do things. If I want that, I need to do that. But since no one's wanting, all these wantings and apparent needings and everything can play out without your identifying with them. It's just in remembering that this is a projection. It's like a movie, and it's already playing out on its own accord. There's nothing for you to do about it.
So we're talking about all this wanting that we lack. Well, maybe that's actually what creates the physical body, because the physical body is always wanting. I'm always wanting food. I'm hungry. I'm always wanting air. I'm always wanting sex. I'm always wanting sleep. All of these physical needs that the body always wants and desires for its sustenance and its life. And so we've created this object that is always wanting and desiring and needing all of these things for its survival. And it's always looking outside the world for what it needs for its survival. but the whole thing that's wanting survival, as you say, it's made up. It's an illusion. Even a temporary survival, because it all leads to death, the body. So the whole body thing is just one big bottomless pit of desire. Every day it needs food. Every day it needs sleep. Every day it wants sex. It wants babies.
Apparently.
Apparently, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need any of that stuff to be sustained. It doesn't really need any of those things to be sustained. That's how the illusion makes it look. That's how the ego makes it look to us in the illusion. But really, even when we take food or water, that's also projected. It's like a movie playing out. Can the mind project a body that doesn't need anything? Certainly. And that's what the real world is all about. It's a more like a creation. It's creative power to be able to project anything you want. And all of those things don't need anything. This kind of projection is like a shadow projection, because it seems like things need things, and we all need to do things, apparently. Even if you're a baby, you're like taking craps and stuff like that, and then someone has to change your diaper. Kat, I don't know if you have kids already, but yeah, that's the trip. Things get pretty stinky.
No, I know her. She doesn't have kids.
Oh, I think I know her too, if it's the same cat I'm thinking of. That's so fun.
Yeah, so there's this idea that in death, that all of your life force leaves your body through your crown chakra, and that's how you die. And so it begins from the most base physical, your first the aspects of your body that need. How should I put it? Well, like in the your base desire is sex, is to reproduce yourself. So we can live without sex. That's not a biological need. You can survive without sex or having babies. But then it goes up to digestion. So you can go for a long time without eating, and then it goes up to the lungs, that you can go for, people can hold their breath for a long time. And then it goes up to your heart, that then you can go for a certain amount of time without a heartbeat. And then it goes to the cerebral, that then when you're died, all these other functions have ceased. Then there's still a little bit of cerebral functioning. Then it all passes out your crown chakra. So your life force is removed from the sexual, digestive, pulmonary, coronary, and cerebral, and then goes out, and your life force is removed and extracted into the death realm or whatever.
Okay, so that's all symbolic, but there's no chakras.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about, actual organs of your body.
There's none of those either. There's no organs either. It's
right.
It's not really true. That's part of the show. You could say that's part of the show. What people perceive of life force leaving the body and stuff like that, that's part of the show. There's no life force in a body. It's a projection. There's nothing in it. There's nothing to be in. There's nothing to be in, actually. It looks like it has boundaries even, and it doesn't. It's a projection. It's very convincing projection. That's all. I wouldn't pay a lot of attention to stuff like that. And I mean, unless it's just fun for you. But if you're interested in seeing through the illusion, let these kinds of things just be play toys. These kind of things just be like play toys. I mean, different people can see it different ways too. This thing about when the life force leaves the body and stuff like that. It's like it sounds like it's scientific, like someone's trying to dissect the illusion and find out what's going on in the illusion. It's always going to show you something. You know, Einstein did some experiments and found out that it's showing him what he wants to see as the observer. Like, it is so dependent on the observer because it is a projection. That's why. so there's no life force like that. You could say the mind is the life force, and it doesn't go into anybody. It doesn't go into anybody. Now, think of it more like a projection, like literally a projection. There's nothing in it. There's nothing coming in it. There's nothing leaving in it. There's a projection of it being born, and there's a projection of it getting sick, and there's a projection of it dying. And the whole purpose of it going through that cycle in your perception is for undoing that guilty self-concept, to heal instead of to project. Yulia's been saying recently, our brain is also in our mind. And so is the idea of mind. Yes, yes, very nice. And each time you take a thing and it seems like it's something that's a reality to you, and you ask for another interpretation, you resolve this illusion a little bit more. And at some point, it's all just going to disappear, and you're going to be so surprised in a good way, in a really good way. I'm going to be surprised too. Anyone who has been given any kind of visions of it that we share with you and stuff like that, we're all still going to be surprised, because from this perspective, we don't see the real world. We get glimpses of it. We don't see the real world. Once we see the real world, we're not seen here in an illusory world. You're not seen. Once the knowing is complete, we're not seen here. So everyone that you perceive that has a body is coming to you. It's coming to you like a messenger asking for your blessing. When you give your blessing, you also receive your blessing, and so do they, because they're also perceiving themselves in error. So it's like you're lifting that error instead of holding them to the error, the thought that they separated themselves from reality. Whenever you have a person coming into your perception saying something or doing something that seems upsetting for you, you can see, you can ask to see that gift. Ask to be aware of that gift that they have for you, because they have a gift of awareness to share with you. And when you extend love like that, you demonstrate to them that they actually didn't separate themselves from reality. And little by little, everyone sees. Okay? Yay. Well, that rooster is just going off in your area, Bob.
Yeah, well, that's why I turned my mic off, so that you don't have to hear all these cock-a-doodle-doos.
You're so sweet.
So it's basically just all a projection. That's like I was reading about the Total Immersion movie. It's just that's why you look within, because if you're looking within, you're not projecting without. You're looking within to the formless space of awareness, because then all you have looking within is just your awareness looking within, and there's nothing really in there.
Yes, that's it. And you know, I'm encouraging you to take that real literally, that projection thing. Don't buy into any other concepts. You know, like I'll find myself having a yoga session, and the yoga session is called Journey Through the Chakras, right? First we're working on the base, and then we're working on, you know, all the way up to the top. And watching my mind in that, there's no problem with doing a chakra exercise, but watching my mind in that and recognizing that it is a projection. There are not any chakras. So you can watch the play as if, look, it looks as if I'm drinking this tea. It looks like as if I'm drinking the tea. But knowing that you're not really drinking the tea, you get the full experience of drinking the tea. You don't have to be lost in some thought thing about who knows what you're going to do tomorrow or anything like that. It's like, wow, it's like, this is amazing. I've made this up, like I can drink tea, like there's a body, and this tea can actually go into the body, and then later on I'm gonna pee. Isn't that funny? It's like all of those things, when they're used, when everything is used for undoing, and I mean everything can be used for undoing the illusion. I mean, everything that you find yourself doing. Just don't get into, oh, this is doing right or this is doing wrong. Because when you get into that, you're just feeding the illusion. Now you're using the illusion to make yourself guilty. You don't want to do that. You love yourself way too much.
Yeah, well, you withdraw power from anything external. You know, if you can see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, or smell it, it has no power. All power is within you. Nothing has a meaning or power other than what you give it. And the only power is love.
Yes, and whatever you give a separate meaning to, you're giving power to. And whenever you recognize that thing doesn't have any meaning, except the meaning you gave, it's like you're reclaiming that power from that thing.
That's
Nothing
it.
has the power to make you upset. Yes, that's how that busting loose from the money game guy said it. I remember that. So speaking of that, you know, the idea that you need a certain amount of money, to do anything is also a really big one for people. You know, whatever amount of money that you perceive is projected in exactly the way it needs to be projected for this healing. It doesn't mean that you can't find yourself going after money. I mean, I've got a business plan right now, and it's being shown to a bunch of billionaires to see if they want to fund my yoga app. Okay? It's just that whether or not that funding comes through doesn't make a difference. Does not make a difference. So even the thought, I hope. It's like, I see you. That's false hope, hoping for something in the illusion. I hope I see through that hopeful thought. That's the real, you know, that's the hope that you were given. That's the hope that you can say you were given by God, the hope that you can see through this illusion. But any hope for anything in the illusion is just making more illusions. So you don't need to identify with anything like that. But this idea, and you know, that's where that book, Busting Loose from the Money Game, if it resonates for you, yeah, go ahead and read it. It's really fun. It seems to be about money, but really it's about a lot more than that, you know. And in his case, in his scenario, you know, he's getting all this money. So, you know, I'm going to give you a caveat about that. Don't worry about getting a bunch of money. If you start worrying and concern yourself about getting a bunch of money, or if you do find yourself getting a bunch of money and getting attached to it, that's also playing into the illusion. The amount of money, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And, you know, I also have friends who have read the book and tried it, and they haven't seen the same kind of results. You know, it's not about getting results in the illusion. It's about using the illusion to undo. You'll always have enough for using the illusion to undo the illusion, recognizing what it's for. Now, my mom told me the other day, well, I disagree with that we shouldn't be asking for things and wanting things in the illusion, because, you know, God wants us to have what we want. And it's like, okay, yeah, God wants us to have what he wants. You know, I'm bringing this up because I know this is a common thing for people. It's like, oh, thank you for bringing that to my attention. You know, and it's really common for people to think, well, God wants me to have what I want. Yes, it's true. It's only God knows what you really want, and you don't. That's the thing.
And that's the kingdom of God. Seek
That's
first
right.
the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's Jesus. God talks over and over again.
Yes.
But the idea of praying for what you want isn't so much P-R-A-Y, it's P-R-E-Y. You're praying you're preying on God to, it's like, is God stupid? Is God withholding from you? God doesn't know what you need. God is kind of stingy and is waiting for you to beg for what you need. You
Yeah.
know, it's like you're making God into some stupid idiot that is withholding and stingy and you know, needs you to inform him about what you need.
And
You
it's
know,
so innocent. It's so innocent. There's really nothing wrong with it too, because, you know, God can't understand that kind of prayer. God cannot understand that kind of prayer, because the prayer, you know, it's like, it's about the illusion, which God knows nothing about, you know. And thank goodness God doesn't know anything about the illusion. That way creation can be kept for you. Because if God knew what you think you know, you know, you just have to be killed and that's it. God doesn't see you like that. Okay, it's all
well,
really innocent. All these prayers, you know, it's not like you're bad or anything. If you find yourself wishing or hoping or asking God for anything like that, all of that stuff gets reinterpreted anyways, and it all leads to this knowing, this understanding, and to the true desire, the one true desire, which is to see reality, to see all the way through this illusion. And you know, the thing is, you would rather have that than all the money in the world. Even though it might not seem like that right now, you would really rather have the dissolution of this illusion than anything else that you think you want.
it's just listening to God that says, "Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine."
Yes. And money has nothing to do with abundance. It really has nothing to do with abundance. It's a make-believe abundance. It's total make-believe abundance. It's so funny. Like you have like these pieces of paper, little metal discs, and numbers on computer screens that qualify as abundance. It's silly. And it's like a bunch of people just got together and agreed this is abundance. When
and it's
when only
it's all
love
based
is
on
abundance.
debt.
What's that?
It's all that abundance is based on lack, on debt.
It's all lack. It's a representation of lack. Yeah. It's a representation of lack. But let's be careful with it too, and not try to demonize money as such, or the people who use money in a way that we deem to be the wrong way to use it, because that's also making it real. Okay, so we don't want to make it real. We're not into making the money real, but in seeing through the illusion of money as it's been presented as if it's abundance. All abundance is love. All abundance is love, and that's all that's needed. All you need is love, just like that Beatles song.
And that's what we're sharing here. This is the abundance of love, that we are partaking of this, and we don't need to buy it. We don't need money. We are just sharing the fullness of our perceptions, of our consciousness, of our awareness, of our realizations and enlightenment. This is the abundance here, the abundance of love and enlightenment that we're sharing with each other and everyone on the webinar. This is abundant.
Yes, and then also I'm apparently using money to do Zoom and these other broadcast things. I don't even add it up, but I'm apparently using money for stuff like that. So if you feel inspired, go ahead and donate.
Yeah, well, it does cost money. Yeah, you do need to come up with the money to pay for
Well,
all
no, that's not really true though. That's not really true though. It looks like that. It looks like that. And it's not even really true that I pay any money. It's not really true that I pay any money. When you give me a donation, it's not really true that you give me a donation. And you don't have a choice in it. And I don't have a choice in this either. Okay? So that's how you look at it as it is. Not as it is presented to you in the illusion. No one really pays anything. No one really has anything. It's all just love. You know, even when I ask for, you know, hey, if you'd like to make a donation, that would be great. It's helpful. You know, it's like there's no choice in that. That's just coming out. It's behind that, behind everything, what's observing it. What are you making of it? Do you really think you need money? Do you really think you need money? I don't know. You know, it looked like I needed money to get my clips, my little clips that I was getting, and to get, you know, different posts and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, someone's doing it, apparently. Either way, it's the same. There's no real money being exchanged or no money being exchanged. It's just for communication. It's all for communication, whatever it looks like. There seems to be this sticky thing about money where, you know, if you go, oh, can I have some water? And of course, here in Hawaii, it rains all the time. So there seems to be no shortage of water anywhere. It's like, yeah, of course, you can have some water. It's just like that. It's just an illusion. It's not anything special, let's say. The money, it isn't anything special. So in generalizing everything, including everything in the generalization that it's all meaningless, it's not anything that you actually need, but these apparent needs can arise. It's okay. There's no need to identify with them. And if you think that money is the only way, just check that thought. It's never the only way. That's what you end up getting shown through believing it, because it's automatically believed. If I need that thing, I need money. But then one perspective that you get from living in Puna, you know, there's plenty of people around here, around Puna, who don't seem to have any money. But things that they seem to need seem to materialize anyways. You know, I have one friend who told me about how he thought about having some shoes, and the next thing you know, the shoes are coming to him. And, you know, when you're not used to just using money to buy your shoes, when you think about having shoes, and you're not used to just automatically using money to buy your shoes, then you might start to see things like that. You might see things just materializing. It's like, oh, shoot, there they are. I had that experience when I was a kid. The thought just occurred to me that I would really like some boots. But it wasn't an attachment. You like an adult, how they attach to it. I would really like some boots. Okay, so therefore I need to go shopping online and clickety click, click, click. What color are they going to be and all this other stuff. From a child's mind, it's just like, oh, it'd be really great to have some boots. The next thing I know, they show up. They're just in my house. No one even bought them. Someone else had them and they didn't want them and they were brand new, so there they were. But then once the mind comes in and it's like, oh, this money thing. Okay, we make money and then we get the stuff we want. We get the money first and then we get the stuff that we want. And we start to see that because we believe it. So we start to see it. Okay. So I'm not saying that you should throw all the money away or anything like that. Just watch what you're thinking about things. There's not a problem with going online and shopping for your boots. Watch what you're thinking about it. Isn't it funny that I think I have to buy them? Nothing wrong with it. It's totally innocent. Here's another boot story. Got these babies, purple Uggs. Yeah. Yeah, my good friend Gail gave those to me. I went to visit her. I didn't even think I wanted some boots. I didn't even think I wanted any boots. I only thought, damn, it's cold here. And she wanted to go out smoking outside in the cold. I go, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go outside. I think I need to stay in here. My feet are freezing. So then I got these Ugg boots, stayed with her for a couple of days, pretty much wore them the whole time. And she's like, they're yours, babe. That's another, you know, you don't know. That's the thing. Even in the illusion, there could be all these different variables playing out if you didn't narrow it down to Oh, I can't get those because I can't afford it. I don't have the money. Hey, Hope, would you like to go flying around the world? Yeah, that sounds fun. Notice the mind likes to go immediately to money. Can I afford that? Can I afford it? It's funny. You will find yourself flying around the world if that's what's necessary for healing the mind. If not, no. That's how it goes. But if you say, I just have this desire to fly around the world, and if I don't get that desire met, before I get that desire met, I'm not going to be fulfilled. Then you're just asking for more illusions. And you're asking for probably going on that whole trip around the world with wasting time, basically. Wasting time means no healing takes place. It's just a bunch of projecting. Wasting time. Who cares about going around the world if it's not used for healing? Who cares? There's nothing to see. There's nothing happening. There's really nothing.
But see, there's the thing about money, that once again, it's an acknowledgement of a lack, of a debt. Oh, I lack the money to get the shoes. I lack the money I got to get. But the thing about abundance, it's an act of giving. So she gave you those boots. Anastasia is giving you the wisdom dialogues on Instagram. You are giving this webinar to us free of charge. The whole thing.
And then when I pay Zoom, I'm also giving them money in that same sense, but really nothing's being given. It's only
that's it. That's it. So that's the state of abundance, is givingness, that you have a source that you're giving from, and you're not looking for anything in return. That just the act of giving, you cast your bread upon the water and it's returned to you through the act of giving.
Yeah, it's instantly returned.
That's it. So it's always coming in touch with your source for givingness, instead of thinking about what you lack and that you've got to get something.
Yes. And we could all use help on that. That's why I ask for guidance all day long. You know, the title of my last show was Listening for Guidance, at least my last online one. That's why I'm asking for guidance all the time, because it's like, I need help with that. You know, it's like, hey, show me, because it seems like I need something right now. You know, just ask for that clarity, because in that clarity, you return to joy. And, you know, that's what you deserve, because that's who you are. You always deserve to return to joy. Any kind of contrasting feeling that you sense, that's just showing you that you can see through something and return to your joyful essence right now. And that's where you're receiving the gift. You know, it's like there's one quote in A Course in Miracles that says, give all to all. Give all to all. So that's like making no distinctions. It's like in giving all to all, it's forgiving all of these misperceptions. All of these misperceptions that you have about people. Like I talked about the thought, I don't like them recently. You know, that's where the very generous and abundance comes in. The thought occurs to you, I don't like them, and you're willing to look through that. That's true generosity. That's abundance. You receive the gift of that right away, because not liking and believing you don't like a person, that hurts you. And you may not notice that contrasting energy at first, but once you start to look, you'll see, wow, that actually not liking someone doesn't feel good. It feels heavy. Now, on the other hand, not liking someone could feel good to you too. I've seen this occur where the self-loathing is so strong that it feels better to not like someone else. That's still not joy, though. That's still not joy. Let's see.
Yeah, it's projection.
Mm-hmm. Remember that you deserve to be joyful in all times. At all times, you deserve to be joyful.
And that's what you give. The sun shines on the just and the unjust, on the
That's
people
it.
you like, your friends and enemies, the people you like and don't like, and so that sunshine is impersonal and impartial, and that's what we give. The sunshine of joy, of love, of appreciation, of gratitude.
Yes, the sun shines on everyone equally. And you let your love be like that, because that's how you receive that gift. You'll see that your energy field, when you get accustomed to being within, having your attention within the body's energy field, you'll see that every time there is one of these, A Course in Miracles refers to it as forgiveness. One of these forgivenesses that your light, it's like your load is lightened. Like your load is lightened, and that's what you deserve. A lot of people will feel guilty about that. They'll feel like they have to be heavy. I have one friend that says that there's people suffering so much, he wouldn't feel good about not suffering because of the people who are suffering so much. And it's like, okay, I don't try to change his mind. He can come to me and ask me if he wants to know something. But when something like that's occurring, it's all for forgiveness. Like, that's my own mind speaking. Those people are suffering and therefore I can't. That's a feeling. It's a feeling, and it's being interpreted as this man saying something like that. So the healing is allowed to occur within myself. And then there doesn't have to be any confused energy between us. It diffuses any kind of ego energy that might arise between us because we disagree on things. See? And he doesn't need to get my point of view. That's the funniest thing, too. I see that in people. I've been playing around with this group and it kind of like helping them out and seeing if I can help them with communication. And what I see is everyone wants everyone else to know their point of view and to understand their point of view. And then when they see the other person's point of view, they're like, oh, that point of view is so out there. That's just so out there. How come you can't see it my way? How come you can't just see it my way? And there's all this frustration around that. It's like, you go first. You have to go first. That's why. You have to go first. You have to be willing to see it their way and not argue with it. And don't worry if they see it your way. Someone not seeing something my way is a gift. Let's put it that way. That's a gift. I'm happy about that. Someone coming up to me and telling me that I've done it wrong and I've messed them up or anything like that. I feel them and I'm happy about it. I'm happy that they're coming to me. I'm not happy that they're feeling sad. I'm not happy because they think that I messed them up or something like that. I'm happy that they're coming to me. I'm happy that they're telling me that because that's useful for healing. How all that stuff gets ironed out, I don't know. It's going to be a surprise for me too. This is so exciting. No one can get it wrong. I love showing people that they can't get it wrong. How did I get it wrong? You didn't. Just drop that whole idea right there. You didn't get it wrong. At least nothing on the surface. If you're feeling upset, you definitely got something wrong, but it doesn't have anything to do with the world. That's the thing. That's the ego's game. The ego's saying, if I'm feeling upset, what did I do wrong and how can I do it better next time? No, that's looking in the wrong place. What have I got wrong? More like, what have I got wrong about myself? Where is my error? Show me my error in thinking about who I am. That's all it is. You cannot get it wrong in the world. You cannot harm yourself in the world. You cannot harm another person in the world. But if you get the perception of any kind of harm, great, that's for healing. That's what it's for. To show them, demonstrate to them, demonstrate to yourself, demonstrate to your own mind that only love is real and all you care about is healing. Everything will work out perfectly. So hooray, everyone. Unless there are any more questions. Okay. You can always still ask while I'm talking. I just like to say my closing stuffs, okay? And that is hopejohnson.org. Go to hopejohnson.org if you want to find anything out about where my stuff is. I started adding audios there, and I got kind of good at it, apparently. Doing some web design now. If you go to hopejohnson.org and you go to the Wisdom Dialogues tag, you'll find my audio, which is new. And I'm adding these to the audio. I'm on iHeartRadio now. They told me that I've been accepted to them now. So if you like iHeartRadio, I'm on iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and more. Okay, you can go to my website and see, or if I don't have links to your particular thing, you can email me, hope@hopejohnson.org. How easy is that? Or hopejohnson@me.com. I like those easy ones. Also, our company, hey, I talked about Miracle Botanicals last week. I talked about the sale. There were a lot of sales, so thank you. I appreciate that. It was really fun, really awesome. We still don't have all of them out. At least yesterday's are still sitting on the counter because there were so many sales from the 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Wait, that was 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was huge. Thank you so much. We have amazing essential oils. Even when they're not on sale, they're great prices. It's called Miracle Botanicals, and it's miraclebotanicals.com. We have an awesome website. We're always adding new products. And check out our reviews. Oh my goodness, the people are so sweet. They're so sweet. Check out our reviews. They know we love them. I'm so happy to see that. They know we love them, and they know that we really care about the quality of the essential oils that they're getting. And our website is just, it's smoking. It's doing so well as far as taking care of the customers and having the information that people need. So hopejohnson.org, miraclebotanicals.com. Those are the websites that I have. I don't really need to give you YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff because you can find all that on my website. Also, I still have my book, Unschooling for Parents. It's just going to stay for sale. You know, the big hype about it is kind of over now. But it's still for sale, and it's an awesome book. Oh, and I'm on Readsy. I've been getting mad love on Readsy about that book. Apparently I'm getting followers and stuff like that. I don't know what to do on there. If you're a Readsy person, you can go on there and check it out. Maybe give me a comment or something like that. I don't know if that's selling books for me, but it sure is fun. You know, I have followers on there now and stuff. I'm not sure if I'll even do anything there. But I am making audios, and I'm making audios exclusively for those audio platforms. So those aren't going on YouTube. I put one on YouTube, but I don't think I'm going to do that because it's really not a video, and it's not that exciting for the video peeps.
What about Facebook?
Yeah, sometimes I post them to Facebook, but like yesterday's Wisdom Dialogues in person, it's already up on those audio things. That's where I'm putting Wisdom Dialogues in person audios. I just started recording them yesterday. They're going up there on those things now. Okay, you can sign up for my newsletter. You can make a donation on my website too. I have a nice donate page with an awesome picture of me and my husband from like 20 years ago. No, not that long. It was maybe like 15 years ago though. When's the second book coming out? Oh yeah, I was going to get to that, Yulia. I was working on the second book earlier this morning, and really early this morning because I woke up at 3 in the morning, which is fun. And got up to page 111 out of, I think there's around 450 right now. And so that's the one. I kind of been going between two books, but it looks like this is going to be the one that's going to come out first. And it's called The Big Book of Hope. And it's a lot of small quotes It's a lot of small quotes. There's some longer ones too, maybe like a page or page and a half, but it's a lot more small ones. It's divided into different chapters. So you get to go, okay, I want to look at this chapter today. And I have a friend who, her name is Julie. What a sweetheart she is. And she puts them all into these little different categories. So I'm just going through and seeing if any of them need any touching up or moving around. I've seen a couple duplicates and I delete things. And I don't think it'll be very long before the second book comes out. I think it may be like 2 months. So that's really exciting. And then I still have the lava one in the works. And who knows, I find myself going back and forth between the two, but it seems like the big book is going to come out first. And I'm guessing there's going to be more books because it's really fun to write. Although I haven't been doing that in the past couple of weeks, I might see myself doing it again. I might not. It doesn't even matter. Yay, everyone. I'm so happy to connect with you like this, and I love you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining. I see all of you, and mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.
Aloha. Mahalo.
Yeah.